Hey guys, we will work on a Ford tractor that has been sitting for a long time and is a no-run condition. I was asked to go fix it up, so I figured I'd show it in its natural condition, and we'll get it fixed up and get it running. We'll go get some ramp set up and winched onto the truck. I've got my jumper pack set up to the winch. The winch is run down to the tractor. Put air in one of the tires, and I got a strap holding the mower deck up because it's the hydraulic deck. And I can't lift it up if it's not running. So we'll see how well this does. I gotta switch this is my forward and reverse. I don't have a controller for this. There you go. Now it'll go the other direction. Let that curl going in there. This is a new winch I put on. A new old one, I should say. One thing I like about it though is it doesn't, when you let off, it doesn't back off. We'll keep going like it is. Generally I pull the tractors forward, which has got a lot more balls than the other one did. Alright. Generally where the problem comes in is where the mower deck comes to the top of the well, I guess that one doesn't stay. It doesn't have a brake in it. Oh well. So it's going to be iffy to the top of the ramp there. There we go. We'll let it kind of. I have to redo it. No, I'm going to set you guys down. Use both my hands. You guys see? You can see something. I am going to correct it so it's a little bit more square. That's the problem about putting them on backwards. They're a lot harder to steer. A lot harder to steer. Yeah, the helper, they can just turn the wheels, it's going up, but we're doing it alone. Now, make sure we don't go through our back window. I usually like to put a piece of wood down. We're going to use a piece of blacktop about halfway back for our stop there. I think we can just push it in the rest of the way from there. We'll put that right about there. That's how good our eyeball math does. And we'll get that in the back of the truck and we'll get it back home and we could carry on from there. Alright, let's see if we can get it out of the truck. Hopefully it starts going by its own. I gotta run over and grab the wheel. Now I won't do it when I want it to do, right? I'm driving over a strap. That doesn't help things. Yeah, now it doesn't want to go down. Underground, safe and sound. Unhook that, and I'm gonna go run around with an air gun, just blow all the crap out of it so we can have a better look at what's kind of going on. And we'll hook a battery charger up to it. I'm sure that battery's dead, and we'll start seeing if it can crank, and we'll start troubleshooting from there. Time for a little cleaning. You guys are commenting on my air gun. I didn't make it. That's the way it comes with that long nozzle on there, and then it's got the little carburetor looking thing on there that it draws more air in as it goes by and kind of increases the volume. I hope that part number shows up. But they work really good. Gets you out of harm's way, you know, you can kind of be back here and do what you need to do. And that's at like about 110 psi right now, so better than just a little handheld air gun. Yeah. Opens on that side. I pull the pin. That was like a two-handed job though, so I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. You guys get the idea. No mice. That's weird. Alright, got it up on the lift, blew it out, battery charger's on it. Battery doesn't seem like it's taking a good charge though, so I have a feeling that that's pooched. I already have a feeling what I think is wrong with this, but we're gonna go proceed and do a little bit of homework still though. I actually think that this system does not have a fuel pump on it. It's pumping, it's just gravity feed from the tank to the carb. And the fuel filter that is on here is meant to have a fuel pump. Let's see if you guys are seeing that, yeah. So I have a feeling that it's just restricting the amount of fuel that's going to the carb. But right now it's just a guess on my part. Let me get ourselves a little cup. There's something in there. He said it would run on ether. That's the only way it stayed running. Generally when they run a fuel filter with no fuel pump, it's more of a screen than anything. Well, that carb is super clean. And he said it was dealt with not that long ago. So it looks like that is not our issue as far as being a dirty carb, but no promises on that yet. So what I think I'm going to do is probably first find a rag for my hand. And I'll look at that main jet. We'll try to look at that together. How's that? If you see any crud in there, I'll turn the light on you. And I'm just trying to look up the center of that. See if I see anything that's funky. Nah. Let's get. I'll shoot it with air where it is right now. Put that float bowl back on there, And probably what I'm going to go do is we'll just connect that fuel system, and I'll use my my temporary standalone system, and we'll go right to the carb, and we'll see if it will run. And if not, we'll do more homework. Or if it is, then we're going to rip that stuff out of there and replace it, and start with a fresh setup. And before I get ahead of myself, I kind of like to always confirm everything that something's doing before I just take someone's word for it, because I've been burned before. So we're just going to quickly make sure that we have spark. I got the plug out of it just so it's not fighting compression, and let's see what we get. That works for me. Alright, it's got spark and it cranks over. So now we're going to go set up to put the fuel to that carburetor and see if she comes to life. Alright, so I got a fuel cell hooked up to it now. I'll go give her a crank over and see if she'll take off. One thing I did notice is this is the idle speed screw. It's run all the way in, so I have a feeling something may have been going on. It might not have an idle circuit maybe in the carburetor, but we'll see. We'll also see if we can kind of crank over the hill too. This battery is may not be any good. Make a liar out of me. Doesn't seem to be drawing any fuel up. When you cup your hand over that, you create a very strong vacuum, and it should just draw fuel right up through the main jet. And it's pretty damp. I'm going to open the throttle up some too. Let's do another shot. So I try firing it again. I think it might be starving for fuel. See if the float bowl has any fuel in it. So I clipped it off right there, and we'll see if it's just not filling up fast enough to keep it running, or if we have another issue. Let's go pull that back. Let me empty my little cup so I'll know how much is in it. If you get just a little dribble out of it, then we know there's definitely a problem. pretty good. It doesn't look like it ran out of fuel inside the carb itself. Either that, my vice grip's stuck and it's not sealing it off. We're gonna find out in a second. Yeah, that was more than enough fuel. Don't go by the color though. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's because it just washed all the crap off my hand. Plus it was crap in the cup. But that was a full float bowl. So it's not, the carb is not starving for fuel. Something else is happening inside the carb. So I'm going to go take that sucker off of there and tear it down and look into it and just see if we can see anything that's causing an issue. There may be just a bunch of crap on that main jet. Alright, got that off of there. I think we'll take it apart a little bit and see what we got going on. The one thing I notice is that, first of all, there isn't a jet that you can unthread from the center of it. Normally, this holds the bowl on and kind of seals the bottom off, so that's the bowl. That's the nut that holds it. Some of the old-time ones, the main jet was adjustable right in the center of that nut. And generally, there's a little cutout right across here and right across here for it to draw the fuel up. So, if you think about it, if that's threaded together, and this chamber is supposed to be, you know, full of fuel probably at least halfway up, the only place the fuel can come in through is that port right there. It's a little odd to me. Usually there's something much lower for that to come in. So the problem is it may be just starving for fuel right at that line, you know, right, you kind of above and below it. So I'm going to look at a couple of, let's go pull this, let's pull the air fuel, the idle and the main air fuel screws out of them. The other thing I would be afraid of too is that if you're on any kind of a hill, it'll starve also. See what I'm talking about? So, come up. Let me pop the light on. Come on. Come on. You're gonna fight me, aren't you? Alright, well, we'll go with a flashlight then. See if that helps. You see what I'm talking about? Generally, you can unthread the center of that and you can pull that main jet right out of there. And I don't know if a piece is just missing or that's pressed up inside there. I have not seen that style before. Alright, so I'm going to go look at another carburetor, possibly if I have one, and get a better general idea what we can do to kind of cure this. Yeah, that's fairly far up for it, and you know, that being the intake for the fuel to be drawn up. Oh, one last thing I'm going to show you while I got you running. Went to a Barrington Truck Show Sunday. And guess who's in the paper? It's Krusty. Must have been on the way out because there was a sign. You hang a sign in your window while you're parked. So I'm not sure if I'm driving in that picture or not. Or it was on the way in, one of the two. Doesn't say my name or anything, but take another 30 seconds off my 15 minutes of fame, I guess. Alright, so I want my little stash of carburetors. This is the one we took off of this tractor, and I want to kind of show. You see where that that would be the intake for the fuel right there. Is we're going to go in through that hole, and that's the float. So you figure the float's going to be partially under the fuel, but you can kind of see that that's almost like right on the line. And I was looking at the needle and seat, and the needle and seat is the valve that allows the fuel to come in. I don't know if it's going to be able to allow me to get in that close, but if you look, see the needle and seat moving? It kind of goes and it stops, and then that needle has a spring out, so really the fuel shuts off right there. That's the that's how the float is kind of set up. That's where it's shutting the fuel off, and then it has to get down to where that jet is, which is fairly buried. So I'm fairly confident that that's what's happening. It's just literally starving for fuel because it can't it just, you know, sucking air. And I wanted to show what a regular carb that is usually used on these motors is. And if you look at it, you see where the holes are on that one? Let's see if you can see the difference between the two. Come on, you guys want to hold this for me? There. So you can kind of see where that jet is compared to that one. You know, that one's probably a good half-inch further down on the main. And the way these work is they have a the jet. I was talking about the main jet is built into the screw, and you run the screw up and down, and it allows how much fuel to come into it. Double check. Actually, no, this one might be. I'm not sure. It might be on top. Anyway, so there's the two different locations they can kind of draw in from, and they're basically the same mount, same setup for the same carb. The mount for the air cleaner is the same. There you go. So that's usually what I see on them. I haven't seen this style Walbro carb with this weird jet setup on there. So what I think I'm going to go try doing, because first I don't have another carburetor for it, I don't think, I just have parts, you know, is I think I'm going to just try setting that float to be a little on the lower side and see if it allows a little bit more in, and still allows it to shut the fuel off. But that's going to be my plan, and we'll see what we get out of that and see if that works. And again, the only other thing I'm worried about too, though, is you know, when the tractor's driving and it tilts from side to side, is it still going to start for fuel, you know? But we'll see. Let's go make some more fuel, enter the float bowl, and see how it runs with that. Alright, got that carb back on there, fuel line's hooked up to it, and I set that float so that it's maxed out. If I go any more with it, it's just going to overflow. It's not going to shut off. So it's a kind of a make or break for this, as far as kind of troubleshooting what's wrong with it. The two air fuel mixes are just kind of running and backed out about 2 turns. They'll, I'm sure, need to be tweaked, but we'll see what we get as far as a run condition. What am I looking for? My screwdriver. Alright, let's fire it up and see how it does. Left the key on the whole time too. Wet. Let me back that screw out. That one screw shuts off all the fuel coming up too. It blocks the path of that hole. Let's open that up some more. set the idle one up first, and then you can do the main one, because the idle is part of the main one. So you have to always go back and do your main jet too. That's kind of what I was afraid of. What's happening now is as it was shaking, it was drawing too much fuel up, and I could actually literally see it hopping into the carburetor. And that's because that float level is now too high. So, my personal opinion is that carb's a piece of shit, but we're going to, again, try to work with what we got. Just my personal opinion. It has a very small window where it wants to work, you know. So I'm going to pop that float ball back off, knock that, try to find a happy medium between the two on that, and see what we get. I also didn't like how I had to cup it to try to get it to start to begin with. That was kind of weird too. Okay. Don't think that fuel filter is doing very much. It's broken loose from itself inside. Happy medium on that. See how it goes. Still, when you rev it up, it kind of fights back. I think they may have a need to adjust the valves on the motor too if they're adjustable. So that's what was inside that plug. And as you can see, it's pretty much burned up. So that was causing an intermittent spark and start crank issues. So cut that out of there, put another one in, and you know, got it the best I can. The mower deck's noisy and the battery's weak, but it's gonna pretty much go like that until we get a better carburetor. It's really not gonna run any better. Once it kind of gets to rev, to RPM, and you know, you get the load on it, then it seems to be okay, but it is what it is. So it's gonna go back like that, and if he wants to pursue it any further, we're gonna have to try to find a new carburetor for it. But that's it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take care.